Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the second episode of the Moronic History Podcast. I'm here with my co-host.
Rumbly Rex here. Nice meeting you all for the second time.
Uh, a Merry Christmas to all of you.
Happy New Year also.
Okay, yeah,
Don't,
I'll post it. We probably won't
don't
have
forget
another
that.
episode of the podcast before the New Year, but I'll probably post it
Oh,
before the New Year.
definitely not. This one took a while just to get out.
Oh, this one's gonna be fun. So, okay, I have a little paragraph written for the start of this. From the trenches of the First World to the bloody conflict of the Russian Civil War to running across an entire continent and ending up in the hands of a Chinese warlord, the Zaamurets train. So yeah, today we're talking about the Zaamurets armored train.
Teach me, Sensei,
Okay,
on what this is.
let us begin. Okay, so in the late 19th century and into the kind of 20th century, armored trains were used in warfare, for warfare.
Yeah, as they do.
Many countries had used them. It was like the French, British, basically any major power, they had them. The first war they were really used in was the U.S. Civil War, which is that one on the left. And then it was used,
Ah,
yeah,
I see. The left one.
they would just
Got it.
stick cannons outside of the train and fire. And then the one on the right is from the First World War. I don't remember what country, but it was from the First World War. So,
The left.
an example of armored trains currently being used are in Ukraine on the Russian side. Boo, cringe, not cool.
Cringe.
Yeah, cringe. But yeah,
Very much
so
so.
armored trains never really went away, and they've been used since their concept was even around. If you want to know more about armored trains, go check out the There's Your Problem podcast. Episode 67 is about armored trains, which is actually where I got the idea for this episode. So go check them out. I guess we're smaller than them.
I will go check them out, and maybe you should hit their subscribe button as well.
Oh, that reminds me. Hit the subscribe button, please.
Do it.
The number
Do
going
it, or I'm gonna show up in your closet and I'm gonna scream at you. I'm literally not gonna stop screaming at you until you do it. All right, let's move on.
the number going up makes me feel better. So please do. Okay.
Boost our self-esteem.
Yes, it does. So moving on. Let's get into it. During the First World War, Russia used a multitude of armored trains. Some of them were like light ones, mostly anti-aircraft, and others were heavy and used for artillery shelling. Some of the benefits of having armored trains were that they were mobile and you could refuel them and refit them by moving them and not by bringing people to you.
Ah, I see.
The trains were used against the Germans and the Austro-Hungarians in the Eastern Front, obviously, but that all changed during everybody's favorite revolution, the February one.
Yeah, that one.
That's the one where
A lot of blood.
that's the one where they overthrew the Tsar, not the October one, which is where the Bolsheviks took power. So,
Yeah,
so this is the based
still a
one.
lot of blood.
This is the yes. There was still a lot of blood.
There's still blood everywhere. I mean, ketchup. YouTube. It's ketchup. A
It's
lot
fine.
of ketchup.
It's fine. It's
A
fine.
lot of ketchup.
So when the revolution
I
happened, Russia immediately pulled out of the war, and what began was the Russian Civil War. So the trains, obviously, that had been used in the First World War were transferred to the Civil War. Both the Red Army and the White Armies, the White Army having more, had many of the armored trains, but the Reds controlled most of the rails due to the rail yards being in mostly cities, and there was a lot of Bolshevik support in the cities. Now,
I wonder why.
yeah, the reason I have that picture from the Star Wars Boba Fett, is that what that show was? I think that
Bob.
Boba Fett, like the
Boba.
yeah,
Is it? Is that the name of it?
No, I think it's Book of Boba Fett.
It might be. I'm not too sure.
It was so boring, I kind of forgot about it. But
I
the reason I put it that there is that the trains were used mostly.
then Mandalorian showed up and
Then
kind of just
then it was,
faded from view.
yeah, then it was great. The one episode with the Mandalorian was great.
It turned into the bush.
Yeah, the trains were mostly used for raiding and transport and supply runs, obviously. But so that's all the background. Let's get to the topic of the video. The Zaamurets train. This is the only picture I could find of it. But let's talk about it. It was built in.
That's a big train.
Oh, it was big. It was a big boy. It'll get bigger. Don't worry about it.
Oh,
In
wait.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
I don't.
In 1916, it was built in
Okay.
Odessa. Being built in 1916, it was used in the fledgling years of the First World War, but it was a it was a main it was mainly an anti-aircraft gun as much as aircraft was used, and it was mostly used against the Austro-Hungarians. So let's talk about some specs. Okay, it had two 57 millimeter Nordenfeldt Gurntons that could fire in any direction for long range attacks. That's the one on the top left. It had
Question.
yeah. What's up?
What's the car doing there?
I will explain that in a second. Don't you worry.
Okay.
It had a
Got
flotilla
it.
of 8 machine guns for up close and against infantry. It had 3 to 4 inches of steel plating on every side, making it, pretty tough. So, the reason that car is
It's
there
a
is that
tough boy.
it had Italian Fiat engines, which was about 60 horsepower with a blistering top speed of 28 miles an hour. That it
Bullet train.
the Fiat engine that was used in the train was used there. Obviously, there was a lot more Fiat engines than was in that car, but same principle applies. I just thought it'd be funny to put a little car there, as opposed to the monster that is the train.
Ah. Okay.
Okay,
That's
so
yes.
in what is now modern day Ukraine, it fought against the German-backed government of Ukraine, those like the partisan fighters, as part of Operation Faustschlag. They wanted to set up countries to help them institute the Brest-Litovsk Treaty. To add to the craziness here, the communists that controlled the train at this time fought with. Oh wait, no, I'm a slide ahead. I'm apologize. Okay, during a refit, it was getting repaired in 1917. The train got a few upgrades, just mostly plating issues, but all that's taken care of. The main thing that happened while it was in a refit was that the Russian Civil War started. It got there in September, and by January of 1918, a Red Army commander, that's the guy on the left, Mikhail Murov. I don't know. I don't speak Russian. It was sent
Some
to
weird Russian name.
Yep, it was sent to Ukraine to help fight off partisans there. So now, okay,
Now
I
you're caught up.
yes, I'm very professional podcaster, of course.
Professional.
Yes,
Obviously.
in Ukraine, it fought against the German-backed governments as a part of Operation Faustschlag. Faustschlag. It's been a long day. Where they wanted to set up countries to help with the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, which is that one on the right.
Ah.
I didn't take a long look at that map, but I'm just realizing that it was like army area lost by Russia, and it's like a giant,
Yeah.
and it's just a giant white box that didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
Like that could have easily. I should have found
I,
better. Fine, it's
oh
fine.
well. Anyway.
So the craziness of this fight is that the communists would fight against the Germans and Ukrainian-backed Germans with the help of the anarchists, but they would also fight the anarchists because they didn't like the anarchists. So, and the peasants that were around there would kind of just fight whoever kind of came up at them.
Ah.
Brilliant,
I see.
brilliant commentary. You,
Yes. I definitely did not get distracted for 2.5 seconds. It's fine.
okay. Here, you can make some comments about this. This is where it gets funny. During March of 1918, the communists combined Zaamurets with another train named by BP3. So the train did get bigger.
Okay.
The picture is not of the BP3 because I couldn't find a picture of it. That's the BP43, which is kind of similar but a bit different. That BP43 was used mostly in World War II.
Okay.
The
For a second
specs.
there, I thought that was a different train. You lied.
Okay, so not going into too much detail about the specs, but it had a lot of big guns and a dozen or so machine guns. The two trains
Big
being
gun,
big gun, go
go
boom.
pew pew pew.
So now you had Zaamurets, which was great with anti-aircraft, and BP3, which is great with close up and far away shooting. So this is a pretty deadly combo. And then it got immediately torn apart by German artillery at the end of the.
Okay. Okay.
So that would.
It's like, hey, we got this new part, guys. It's so good, and it's gone.
Yeah, immediately torn apart by German artillery. So that takes it out for the rest of the First World War. So now it's been sent to Russia. You get sent back to Russia. It gets a full rebuild. It was transferred to help with the defense of rail lines in Siberia and fighting the White Army. Enter the Russian Civil War. It got a name change at this point after, of course, it got changed to Lenin after, of course, the first king of China, Karl Marx.
Hold on. Did you put the crown on him, or was that a picture you found with a crown on him?
No, I edited that myself.
All hail the king.
I edited that on there myself. I thought it was pretty good.
Jesus.
So the main thing that Zaamurets was doing at this time was basically keeping the rail lines intact, and was just trying to beat back the White Army from the cities mostly. That's why there's that old Soviet Russian flag. Oh,
okay, that makes more sense now.
So its new name is Lenin, but I think we'll just call it Zaamurets just to be consistent.
Yes. Yeah, I don't want to change name.
Yeah. You're in for a treat.
Oh God.
Enter the Czechoslovak Legion. So we do have to backtrack a little bit back to the First World War, to the Eastern Front, where there was many people fighting. Russians, Germans, Austrians, and Hungarians. Of course, they're the main powers there. But most important to us was a bunch of Czechoslovaks. Many people from Czechoslovakia and what is now Czechia and Slovakia fought for the independence of their country from the Austro-Hungarian Empire because everybody hated the Austro-Hungarians.
Everybody, just name them.
If you've ever seen the oversimplified video, you'll know that there was a bunch of ethnicities and they all hated each other. Mostly the Serbs.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody hated the Serbs. Everybody hated the Serbs. Yeah. The Serbs hated everybody else.
Hated everyone else.
It's just... So the Czechoslovaks are like, we're going to fight against the Austro-Hungarians, so that puts them on the side of the Entente. And their main sponsor is Russia. So at the end of the Eastern Front of the First World War, the Czechoslovak Legion, which was a 40,000 men strong legion, so nothing to sneeze at.
Oh, yeah.
No, it could do some damage, but with the end, but with the Russians getting out of the First World War, they wanted to keep fighting, so they decided to make their way towards France. But you can't just go across the whole battlefield, through Austria-Hungary, through Germany to get to France. That's dumb. So so bringing us to our map, they're going to take a 6,000-mile long journey from Ukraine, what is now Ukraine, to Vladivostok, Russia, and then they're going to sail to France to keep fighting in the war.
Now I know what you're thinking, guys, but Sevron, there's don't you listen here, the loyal viewer, you're wrong.
Now my largest question here is,
how?
I know the fronts were really bad, and this might have been their only chance to get through. Why didn't they just go north to the peninsula? And then just sail that way, or go through. I guess Sweden is neutral, so you can't do that. There had to be.
I don't know.
I don't know, but the goofiness is only going to get goofier from here.
Yes, and don't worry, the chaos will ensue later.
Yes, to ensure the safety of the soldiers under his command, Thomas Masaryk made agreements with the different factions fighting in Russia and in the surrounding countries to not lose people before getting to France. Because
yes,
you get to France, you're going to lose a lot of guys.
Hey, guys, guess what? Let's shake hands, but don't lose.
Yes, the Czechs.
I'm so helpful.
The Czechoslovaks were only to fight in self-defense. But that didn't really happen. They got into a fight with the Germans, lost 200 men. So now what they're going to do is they're going to use the Trans-Siberian Railway to get to Vladivostok. But the problem is that there's a lot of fighting around it. It's kind of patchy, and it's always being fought over. So, oh, all right. So
Continue.
at this point, they had commandeered a train. It wasn't like an armored train. It was just a train with, I assume, like cattle cars. Like that's what they're using at this point. So
Ah,
the dude on the left, on the right, will be important in a sec. Whilst traveling
okay.
through one of the towns, a Czech legionnaire lynched a Hungarian prisoner of war that had been working in a Russian labor camp. The big thing in Russian labor camps is that depending on your ethnicity, you were treated better if you were. Uh, what would it? What are Cyrillic? What are the
I
people? Slavic. If you were Slavic, you were treated a lot better than if you were not. God help you if you were
makes
Balkan.
sense.
Lord help you if you were Balkan. There was
If
no
you were
escape.
Balkan, you were just
Yeah,
let's just say not a fun time.
yeah. So
Um,
apparently, a prisoner struck the soldier, and the soldier lynched him, obviously, which is kind of an overreaction, but I'm not going to dissect that, not from here.
I don't.
Yeah. Later, he was arrested by the local authorities of the town of Ch- Chelyabinsk. I don't know.
Chill, it,
Y-
however you say that.
Yeah. The other Legion soldiers, of course, seeing their guy getting arrested, didn't think he did anything wrong. So, about 3,000 of the Legion decided to take over the entire town. They seized all the weapons from a man called Leon Trotsky.
Oh, I knew I recognized him.
Yes.
I knew
So,
it.
at this
It's
point,
Trotsky. Is that how you say his name?
yes, Trotsky.
Trotsky.
So at this point,
Got it.
the Legion controls the entire town and seized like 1,000 weapons from the armory. It was ridiculous.
A
So,
thousand?
like 800 or so.
Okay, that's a lot.
They got a lot of weapons.
A lot. What?
He then ordered. Trotsky said that like the Legion, because Trotsky had been kind of trying to bring the Legion to the Red Army so that they could fight and be back the
Yeah.
Whites. But after this, he's like, nah, no hope for them. So he's like, disband it and forcefully. So the Czechs kind of like sat on their thumbs for a couple of months, and they just decided that they're not going to get clearance from the Reds to make their trip to Vladivostok.
Nope.
So they just decided we're going to do it. They took over towns and rail stations all along the way as they made their way through.
It didn't get didn't get caught once. Not one. Not
Oh, they got into
one time.
so many firefights. It was ridiculous. But the thing
No.
you got to remember about these guys is that they were hardened soldiers of the First World War, so they had seen everything.
They've seen it all.
Now,
They've heard it all, seen it all, felt it all, everything.
what I know about what I know about the Bolsheviks, I know quite a bit about the Bolsheviks. I don't know how good their soldiers were, but I'm going to assume that most of these soldiers were probably like city kids who had come out to support the cause, because most of the soldiers who fought for the Tsar were mostly going to the White Army because they were getting paid to do so. So they're
Whoever pays the most, really.
yeah. So moving on, they fought with the White Army and they took medals and guns to make the train that they were using like kind of a makeshift armored train. They were just kind of bolting sheet metal to the train.
Hmm.
The main
This
people,
looks like a piece of metal.
yeah, and
Boom.
you can just see hot rivets being tossed at them, and they just bolted to the train. It was great. The main people that they were
Getting
fighting at
thrown
this
like
point,
a tiny thing that they're like, get it on, guys, come on.
is that a stop sign?
And
Bolted to the front.
bolt. Stop.
My headcanon is that the train was a like old steam locomotive with a giant smokestack. I know that isn't true, but it is true in my heart.
We want it to be.
Yes,
We really want it to be.
it's
But
it's
that's not the case,
it's true
and
in
it's
my
sad.
heart. Yes, it is sad. So the main people they were fighting at this point was the People's Army of Komak in the Volga region. Dude, there's so
Hold
many
on.
names.
Wait.
What?
Hold on. I had a thought. How much more funny would this be if it was a steam locomotive train this entire time?
if this if
How
the
much more funny?
if the Zaamurets armored train was a steam locomotive.
Yeah, and they just like as they went, they like bolted on stop signs and any kind of sign or
They
shield,
have to stop
whatever they could bolt, a gun,
they have to
just
stop to
right on
steal
there.
they have to stop to steal coal.
Yeah. They have to say, hey, can we borrow some water to power a steam engine?
Well, I'm gonna assume
As they're like in the middle of a gunfight and like as they're being pelted with whatever.
I'm going to assume that it was a steam engine due to the time that it is, because I don't think diesel was. I don't know. I should know this, but I don't know. But I'm going to
Like
assume it was a steam.
how much more funny?
It would be
Like
very funny if it was like the comical huge smokestack.
it's like the comical, like huge train, that was powered by steam.
Oh yes. Okay. So
Moving on, sorry.
so here's where Zamorod's comes back in to fight against the Czechs who had their like own armored train. Trotsky sent in Zamorod's or Lenin, and it grabbed another Kunkun's class train car to fight against the Legion. But here's where the goofy gets goofy.
The
But
goofy.
but
This
even
is where
with
the
their
goofy are.
overwhelming superiority and firepower, the Czechs took the train. They took the train, and now it's
I
theirs.
I'm sorry. They
The Red
just
Army,
took it.
the Red Army lost, and the Czechs just took the train, and I assume coupled it to their old train, and now they just have it longer. They just have a bigger train.
God, the Red Army.
I just said, I just
How? What do you mean they lost?
yes, they just lost it.
I-
I imagine a private or whatever the same was in the Red Army. He goes into Trotsky's office like, Trotsky's like, so what's the deal with the Czechs? It's like, well, sir,
We lost.
sir, we lost. It's like, okay, refit Zamorod's and send it back out. Or I guess he'd say Lenin, and he's like, we can't, sir. Was the train destroyed? No, sir. Then what's the issue? They
They
they took it,
they
sir.
they.
He's like seething. He's like, they did what?
So
They took the train.
my question is, this was easier than just going through Germany.
Yes. Yes. This was all easier than going through Germany.
I'm sorry.
So they still
This was the easy.
this was the easier path, yes.
Not even like go down through Austria through Italy easier. Is it still easier than that?
I don't you would have been the goofier thing is that they went through Turkey.
They go through Turkey and back up and then
Yes.
around.
And then they get to France and they're like, where you go back?
Wait, no, no. Here's the thing: they don't even have to like keep the train to France. They could just stop in Italy and sail to.
I suppose because Italy would have been an Entente power. They could have fought against the
They
Austro-Hungarians
were.
from there.
They were.
They could have just
That's the
they could have
thing.
just rip and tear through the Ottomans.
Oh,
Wait, no.
I.
I think I think that wouldn't have worked because the trains in Russia had a different grade, so like the tracks were a different length apart than in the Ottoman Empire, so that might have not worked. God,
No, I'm talking like if they
they just
just
walked.
went through Austria
Oh, they just could have blitzed
to
through Austria.
Italy
That would be funny.
and then to France.
I don't know, man. You could just destroy the tracks on both sides, and then they couldn't escape.
That too. Just break the. It's so easy to stop a train
Yeah, but you see
when you're in the middle. the war. It's that easy.
You've seen the incompetence of the Red Army so far, correct?
My God.
Okay,
Oh my God.
so
This is.
we get another name change. The Czechs named it Young Eagle, but we're gonna call it Zaamurets for now. They
Mhm.
refitted the train just to mostly put guns that they had ammunition for. It was the Model 102 Putilov field guns. That's the picture. That's right there.
Ah,
They made a deal with the White Army and they fought against the Reds for a year and a half, and they dominated the rail lines the whole time. Nothing
it's
could
like I
stop them.
said. It's so easy. You have no. Just blow up the track.
Yeah,
Just
it's
blow up the track. There is one track that takes them to the destination they need to go to.
no, they're
One.
going back and forth fighting all the way.
No, you have no like the way they're taking. There's one.
Yeah, there is only
All you
one.
have to do is blow up the one at any point in time, and they're stopped. They can't do anything.
Incompetence, my friend. Incompetence.
Oh my! It's so like I get like it's a train. Like how are you gonna stop a train? You're in a war. Everything you need is right
Yeah,
there,
you
right there.
it would take you 3 sticks of dynamite and like 2 guys.
And two guys in a perfectly placed position to blow up the track. And what are they gonna do?
Yeah, like we all know that the Russians have no um they will sacrifice as many men as it takes to win a war. So like 2 guys and 3 sticks of dynamite, you go with blow up the tracks in front of the train and behind it, and then you can like not have the train running at you the whole time.
Surround the train.
The Czechs would probably just take every person hostage. Who knows?
They have like tens of thousands of men, and like maybe 100 of them left, and they're like, "We have them hostage." What?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're right here. Do you want to talk to one? Like
yeah.
here.
The Czechs have plot armor through this entire thing.
Apparently, God, they're stupid.
So this worked very well for the White Army for like the whole time. But
Oh
this
yeah, must have.
but this all changed on the 11th of November 1918. The Great War ended, so the Czechs' main reason for fighting was gone because Czechoslovakia was an independent country from the Treaty of Versailles and the agreement afterwards. So the main goal that the Legion
So
was fighting,
you're kidding.
so
Yeah.
the main goal that the Legion was fighting for has been achieved. So they're just like, we want to get home. So like they're
Don't tell me they go back.
no
Did they?
funnier,
Okay, good.
funnier. So
Oh no.
they're great. They just want to make it home. So the Red Army was still trying to fight them, and the Whites were like, "No, we want you here to help fight the Reds." So they said, "Screw all of that." They tell the Whites we're done fighting, and they just start going.
They just start trucking along
Yep,
now.
yep, fighting anybody in their path. Also, at this
I
point, I have to mention that apparently at some point the Czechs stole a bunch of imperial gold. So they
I
no,
can't.
it's goofier. They took this gold that they had stolen, paid off the Reds so they wouldn't fight them anymore. So now all they have to do is fight the White
Is
Army.
go.
Yeah, they just have to fight the White Army. So basically changing teams. So they're ripping and
Hmm.
roaring, moving towards the city. The Legion
Yeah.
was
Moving towards the city.
the Legion had no trouble with the White Army. Most of them didn't even try to fight them because they knew their reputation. But they still had issues with other powers. The Cossacks, which was a religious group from Ukraine and South Russia, had been given money by the Japanese to attack the Legion. The
Uh
Japanese
huh.
had intervened with all the major powers to help the Whites win the Russian Civil War, but they attacked the Czech Legion even though they said they wouldn't.
Mm.
So,
Good double. Good stab in the back there. I
the
see.
train known as Young Eagle, Lenin, or Zaamurets, depending on your allegiance, was this is they're back in the convoy. It's in the back of the convoy, and now they're
Hmm.
going to the Japanese-controlled city of Halar, Mongolia. So they're in Mongolia at this point. So the Japanese didn't trust the Czechs, not even a bit, because the reputation was bad. They betrayed
It's
they betrayed
stinko. Just
yeah,
negative,
negative trust.
negative, negative trust.
I should have found one with broken glass. Damn.
That would be good.
Their reputation was that they'd betray anybody, and having a giant armored train probably doesn't do great for helping soothe trust.
Yeah, I would imagine not.
So a completely separate event from the Czechs happened where the Japanese arrested a Bolshevik sympathizer, and a gunfight ensued. The Czechs reportedly did nothing, but the Japanese said that they had fired Zaamurets at the Japanese. For punishment, they demanded that the train be turned over. The Legion didn't want to do this, but the commander said, we'll probably get it back anyway, so we'll hand it over just as a kind of formality. The Legion didn't like it, so they were like, they kind of go to the Japanese like, we want it back. But the Japanese, obviously being like Hirohito code loving. No, what's the code? What's the samurai code?
I don't know, man.
That's gonna bother
I
me.
haven't done enough research on Japan to know that yet, so
That's gonna bother me. We're gonna get somebody. He was like, actually, the code is the I think it starts with a B. I think it starts with a B.
Shush.
But they didn't want to do it because
did.
they would lose respect if they gave it back. But the train was eventually handed over by the supreme commander of all Japanese forces in Manchuria, General Shigemoto Oe. So, at this point,
moving.
the Czechs made it to Vladivostok. They're ready to go, and with that, they sailed home. They're going home, and
They're going home.
They just leave. The Czechs.
They're like, all right.
The Czechs now are out of the story.
Outro music.
No, we're not even done yet. We're like, we're not done.
On.
The train was handed over to the White Army as a sign of respect, so that they continue the fight against the Red Army. Zaamurets was used to fight the Bolsheviks until the White Army was fully forced out of Russia. The Soviets had completely taken over. The White Army went into Manchuria, the highlighted red part, and the train went with them. Once they crossed over into China, they were given safety by a local warlord by the name of Zhang Zulin. This guy would later rule the Republic of China for a little bit, but at this point he was just a local warlord. So now they're in China. And there's a lot at this point in China. There's a lot of warlords and a lot of fighting. So,
and each one wants to take everything for themselves.
Yes. So the White Army volunteered to fight along the forces of Zulin because it was like they just wanted to get paid.
Cool.
They wanted to get paid a lot of money. So they helped patrol and hold the railways against the Japanese and their neighboring warlord that was backed. It was the Zilhil region. I don't. So many names.
It's China's regions. No one remembers them.
No. So at this point, they were really fighting for control of Beijing.
Yeah.
Now, the Chinese basically controlled C and controlled V. They learned how to build armored trains from the Russians and built 5 more trains to add to their arsenal.
Oh, God.
So they have 6, including Zaamurets.
Jesus Christ. Does this train ever die? I'm like... This train has been to hell and back.
Who's that guy from Five Nights at Freddy's? The main guy who's like, I always come
William
back.
Afton?
Yes. That is this train.
Yeah.
That is this guy.
That is this train.
So the Chinese warlord used this against other local warlords, and mostly against Japanese-funded warlords. And the Japanese really only wanted to do this because they were like, we're going to colonize this later, so infighting is really good for us. So, over the next couple of years, it traded armies constantly. It was always getting captured and renamed and captured and renamed. So we're just going to... At this point, it was renamed Number 105. So, a Japanese warlord...
We went from Zaamurets to 105. That's
so we went from Zaamurets to Lenin to Young Eagle to number 105.
That's dumb. I hate number 105.
So, yes, it is the worst name out of all of them. My favorite is Zaamurets, but
Yes. Oh yeah. Good name.
Young
Good
Eagle
name.
is second, Lenin third, and number 105 worst.
Yeah. 105 is dumb. That's a
So
dumb name.
a Japanese-backed warlord captured it and gave
Okay.
it to the Japanese because the Japanese were like, we need to get this train off the tracks. It is a pain.
This train is it won't die. We need it off.
Yeah, we need gone.
Get it out of here.
So at this point, most trains that were used by the Japanese were mostly for supplies. They didn't use war trains because
Hmm.
they were an island nation, so having trains for war would kind of be dumb.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
So the exact
Why?
fate of Zaamurets isn't known.
Okay.
Most people assume
Oh.
was that it was scrapped by the Japanese. But there is a chance, a minuscule chance, that the train is out there somewhere. It's rusting somewhere.
Boys, I know, Ferb, I know what we're gonna do today.
So the
You're
the
going to
Zaamurets
find that train, and if it's still alive, it's going to die.
the Zaamurets train, it never died in combat. It survived every encounter it ever went up against.
That is insane for a train.
So let's
Like, we're talking old-timey
yes.
train. It's so easy to just blow that thing up.
So let's look at my diagram. I made this
Oh,
diagram.
God, I hate this. Oh, ugh.
I
God,
only
I hate this.
I only made it this way to show the goofiness and the
Oh,
zaniness.
God, I hate it
So in the
so
top,
much.
so it started off in the hands of the Russian Empire. It went to the
Hmm.
hands of the Soviet Soviet Russians. Then went to the Czechoslovak Legion, and then
Uh,
into the control of the White Army, and that's the flag of the White Army. I don't mean like the
yeah,
modern state of Russia or whatever. Then it
yeah, the
went
White
to
Army one.
then it went to Zhang Zuolin, that's the Republic of China flag, and then finally to Japan.
And let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It switched like different like area, like different groups. It switched different groups 6 times, and maybe switched armies, possibly
Oh,
like whoever else a
it probably
million
switched
times.
hands another 6 times. So the Russian Empire had it from 1916 to 1918. The Soviets probably had it from late 1918 to early 1919. The Czechoslovaks had it for at least 3 years when they were making their way across. The White Army had it for about a year. Zhang Zuolin had it for who knows how long, and then the warlords. And then Japan, I don't know. There's no like
Don't
evidence.
know.
Yeah,
We have no idea. From whenever it was captured to
when it was
yeah,
probably scrapped or left to rust in a pit somewhere. Which is
probably.
I kind of wish it would have gone out in a blaze of glory. It deserves that fate.
God,
You
that
know,
train lasted so long.
it could have been so much goofier if like the White Army guys who had fought using it were like, you know
Yeah.
what, we're gonna go back to Russia, and they chugged back fighting the entire way back,
And they win.
and they took my they changed the course of the war. They take the capital, they win. And that's
They
how the
win.
Russian
Yeah.
Empire survived the First World War.
that
With this,
Actually, that would be a really good alternative history.
I,
Be really good.
I,
Someone do that.
I don't,
Someone do this, please.
I don't dabble in alternate history, but give credit to Rumbley for that one, or give credit to both
Yeah,
of us.
yeah, come on. Come on. Like you make that happen.
Okay,
I want to see it now.
so that is the journey of the Zaamurets train from the goofy to the insane to the just downright stupid. But
Ah, all right.
we're not quite done yet. We're introducing
Oh,
a new segment to the podcast. I turn it over to you.
all right. Welcome to Random Conspiracy Theories with me, Rumbly Rex, as the host. This segment, I'm teaching Sevron or like telling conspiracy theories to Sevron to add on to the dumbness.
So
Now,
I'm going to kind of take a
now,
back seat here. So
so Sevron,
yes,
today's conspiracy theory.
do I
I
do I
want
do
to
I flip the
point.
slide?
Not yet. I
Okay.
want to pre-warn you
Okay.
and everyone else at home. This is a conspiracy theory, all right?
And we do not believe in this conspiracy? Well, I guess I can't say that
No,
yet,
we
but
don't. I
we
mean,
most
yeah, but
likely
we
we
do
will
not
not.
believe in it at all.
We do
We
not.
most likely will not.
We do
All
not
right?
endorse the thoughts that come out of this conspiracy theory. If that changes, we will tell you, but assume that we
No.
do not.
Okay.
Okay, I
Now
think we
there
covered
is a
ourselves.
picture on the next slide that just it
Do you
be
want
ready. All right.
do you want me to flip
We
it?
can flip the slides. Welcome to the first
Oh
conspiracy
no,
theory is
no,
that
no,
the Holocaust didn't happen. There
no!
are people out.
Oh
I'm
my
telling you
god,
right now.
no! No,
I'm
not
telling you.
Kanye West. No.
I had to. Okay, you don't understand
I'm
the
I
amount of jokes are can be produced out of this.
I know, I know, I know.
It
Okay,
was
I'll
too
shut up.
good
I'll shut
not
up.
to
I'll
add.
shut up.
Okay.
You go.
All right. So there are actually people that believe the Holocaust didn't happen.
Oh God, I'm never.
That's what I'm saying.
Uh, I'm I
Some
am.
people.
Oh God, I'm so glad I'm not monetized because this video would be
Yeah.
oh,
Oh yeah. It would go down the drain. But here's the thing. It's perfect for what we talked about because we talked about world wars and it kind
it
of
is also
ties in.
very relevant because Kanye has been
Yeah.
just going off
Yeah.
recently,
Oh my
saying
god.
the
But yeah,
worst stuff you can physically say.
just oh my god, man's gotta take the meds, chill down.
Oh my God, that one doctor who he's been talking about recently must just be like, I should have thrown him in a mental ward. It's
But here, back to the whole conspiracy theory.
yes.
The reasoning behind how this started is because people didn't believe back in what 1950 to 19 60 that the Holocaust the numbers didn't quite add up. Like the amount of Jews dying in concentration camps. They believed
Jews,
that
Slovaks, all the guys.
Slovaks, all of them, but we're gonna focus on the
Yeah, for
main.
this because it's Kanye and neo Nazis hate.
Yeah, well, but they they think that the numbers don't add up. Maybe millions of them survived, but no one's talking about it, which isn't true. And I will say why right now because you know this. There are only maybe a couple tens of thousand Jews left in Europe.
Yeah, in Europe there is I
There's not very many left.
there are millions of Jews in the world, but in Europe there is so
In
very
Europe
few.
specifically.
Hi, this is editing Sevron in the post. I didn't look it up during the recording, but in Europe in 2010 there were 1.4 million Jews, more than we expected them to have, but that only accounts for about 10% of the Jewish population in the world. So we were still kind of correct on the scale of it, but not on how many there actually were. So because before the
In
war,
Europe specifically.
yeah, because before the war, a lot of Jews
Oh
fled
yeah.
to America mostly, if they could. A lot of those got
If
turned
they yeah,
back.
if they could.
Some to the UK, but many of them stayed because
So
they were
they
like,
could fly to the US.
no, they sailed.
Just they kind of just, went wherever they could to escape the Nazis. So
So what happened? I'll do give a little brief history lesson.
yeah.
So basically, what happened after the war is that the victorious Allied powers were like, okay, they were kind of like, okay, we're gonna take the Jews that are left, and we're going to take them to a land for themselves, and that brought to them, and they're like, okay, we'll give them their land that they had biblically, or I guess I don't know what's the book for the Jewish faith.
I don't
What's their religious book?
know.
The
I'm
Quran?
not a very religious person, so I have no
Neither am
idea.
I. The Quran is the Muslim. The Bible is the Christian. The It's the Hebrew Bible. We'll just say that.
Hebrew. Yeah, we'll just say that
We'll see
because
the
we don't
Hebrew.
know the actual
There's
name.
a like the Tabbath.
If any of you guys know who are watching this, please let us know.
Please let us know.
Teach
We're
us.
not trying to offend anybody. We're
No,
just dumb.
we're just trying to understand.
So basically, what happened is that the British took their they had territories in the Middle East, and they took it from think it would have been the Palestine region, still is, and they made it into the country of Israel from like the Israelite people, the original like God's chosen people or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminded me of another thing. Kanye is also thinks that the black people were the original Israelites or the original God's chosen people, and that
Wow.
the Jews stole that from them. So
Yeah.
it's so much.
So I don't even.
I don't even know what to say. It's so bad.
But here's another thing. This is also it stopped around 1970s because people kind of debunked this conspiracy theory and were like, this isn't it happened. People
They pointed to
they pointed
the miles of
yeah.
ashes and were like,
Yeah,
here.
they pointed to the hills of ashes in like Poland
Oh,
and
and all the shoes and the
Auschwitz and any
briefcases.
so. But according to the 2019 poll, so like very very recently,
Geez, that is recently.
that 1 in 20 people in the UK did not believe the Holocaust ever happened.
Oh god.
1 in 20. That is a lot of people,
Yeah, what is that?
and I'm
What's the
baffled by the
population? What's
people.
the population of the UK? I'm gonna quick look this up.
It's like 43 million, maybe 45 million.
67 million.
67. Okay.
So if you take 67 million people and you multiply that by what 1 in 20, what would that be?
1 in 20.
It'd be 0.002.
I think so.
Let me take 1 divided by 20 and we'll figure this out. Okay, it's 0.05. Okay, yeah,
Oh,
I was right.
zero
Oh,
five.
I was right. So then we take that and we multiply that by 0.05. That is 3 million people.
3 million people in the UK.
Who knows about in
That's
the
insane.
US? Who knows about in the US?
The US had to have been an insane amount of people. But yeah, that was the
This isn't
conspiracy
directly
theory.
related, but 1 in 9 people in the US said that holding white supremacist beliefs would be okay.
It-
I
yeah, the world's a crazy place. I think we've learned that today.
uh, it,
The
it,
one takeaway today is the world's crazy.
the
Everybody's crazy. Don't trust your neighbor.
the world is crazy. Don't deal with Nazis and Kanye West.
Don't be a Kanye.
Don't be Kanye. Yes. Kanye made it.
There we go. That's
So I feel
that's
like a
the
lot of
lesson
people have
today.
trouble like denouncing Kanye because he's like, I never listened to his music. That's not my type of
Oh,
music.
me neither. I
I'm
just never did.
into metal mostly, but the a lot of people really like his music, and I've heard it's really good. I've not my taste, but whatever. But here's the thing: you can enjoy his music. That's fine. Just say that he's a terrible person. Just say
Yeah,
that.
you can listen to his music because his music. I've heard one song. It's not terrible,
Yeah, just
but don't believe in
we're gonna get
anything he
denounced for
says.
saying that Kanye's music is bad. Oh god.
I. Who cares?
Yeah, whatever.
I.
Just
Your opinion.
if you're defending Kanye because you like his music, just say I like his music, but I don't endorse his actions. Easy as that.
I don't like him.
There
I
might
like
be
his music, not him.
people that give you flack for that, but here's the thing: enjoying the arts because he created that art. He's been weird. He's been crazy for years now, but he never went
Years.
this far. And he created that music way back, so it's most like music he created way back. So it's fine.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad for liking his music that he created. Then just say that you don't endorse the actions and the beliefs that he holds now, and you'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah. But
Wow, that's a sour
that's
note
all
to
I got.
yeah,
But
that's a sour note to end
I
on.
it is. But don't worry, I have like a list of more conspiracy theories out there with you and everyone else later on. It gets goofier. Telling you right now,
Oh,
it gets goofier.
okay, it has to get more goofy because there's a lot of goofy conspiracies. This one's
Oh
like a
yeah.
tough one to get because it boils my
This is like the bottom list goofy. It gets goofier as we go on.
yeah because this
Like next, I'm moving on to a TV show one.
oh
It's a little sneak peek.
because this one boils my blood because I like history. I think that's pretty obvious given my track
Yeah,
record.
but like the fact that people believe that the Holocaust didn't exist. Like, are
It's
you
just
okay?
like some people believe that it existed and that
Yeah,
it wasn't that bad. It's like, yeah, that's
it
probably,
was that bad.
yeah,
It
it
was
was.
just that bad.
Okay, let's not get into a 20-minute rant, or I have no idea
No,
how
let's
long
not.
this is going. So, thank you all for watching the second episode of the Moronic History Podcast.
We'll see you guys in the next one.
I don't know what we're doing
I
next time, or otherwise I would have put a slide with it, but
yeah, no idea.
it'll probably be sometime in the new year. I can't promise when. So, see you guys next time.
See ya.